I'll talk about common problems, tips, and strategies for AGE listening. I am Ahmed Shahinata. First of all, let's start with common problems. When given 4 choices, you are likely to hear the speaker talking about all 4 options. Just because you hear it mentioned doesn't make that option correct. So you must select the correct answer, not the first one you hear. The second common problem is that the answers will normally come in the form of synonyms or paraphrases. Don't just listen for exact matches. Think about how the answer could be expressed using synonyms or paraphrasing. And the third common problem is that the 4 choices often look similar in meaning, and it may be difficult for you to tell the difference. For this one, you should look for the keywords in the different options that allow you to tell the difference between the different options. And the last common problem is that this is not just a test of your listening skills, but also your reading skills. There is much more to read in multiple choice questions, so you should practice underlining the keywords in the questions and quickly understanding the difference between the different options. Okay, so let's move on to the tips. Yes, tips. The first one is that don't check your answers from the previous section when you have a break. This is a common problem for most of the students. When they finish the first listening, instead of looking the questions in the second part, they keep looking at the first part and they waste their time. But don't forget that the first part of the listening is over. So you have nothing to do. So you should move to the next part and then read the questions and look at the options and underline the keywords. And it is important that you read the questions in the next part and try to understand them. So the second tip is highlighting the keywords. The keywords in the question will help you answer the question correctly. The keywords in the different options are those that differentiate meaning between the choices. So when you highlight the keywords in the options, you will see the difference between them and you will be aware of what that option is about. And the next tip is don't write the first answer you hear, because you may hear all the options and the first option may not be the correct answer. And this can be a trick. Maybe the answer is C or D, but A or B is a trick. Okay, let's continue with the tips. Next tip is that you shouldn't spend too much time on one question. If you didn't get the answer or you are unsure, make an educated guess and move on. Educated guess means when you look at the options, when you read the options, you may say that, option B is irrelevant. Or maybe you can say that, oh, well, I heard the option C in the previous question. So this can't be this can't be the answer. Okay? You should make an educated guess. And the next tip is that you should be careful if you hear words like but or however. This often means that the speaker is going to qualify previous statement. It is something like, I would go to home after school. However, I changed my mind and went to the pharmacy first. And here, we should know that the speaker didn't go to home first, because in here, the speaker says, however. So it means, it gives an opposite meaning. Okay, and the last one, and never forget this, it is what makes perfect is practice. If you practice listening every day, be sure that in AGE listening, you won't have any problem. Because when you practice enough, when you listen to something for about an hour a day, it will be easier for you to understand the listening section in AGE. So you will most probably understand almost everything that the speaker talks about. Okay, and let's move on to the strategy. The first one is that you should read the instructions carefully. Most of you don't read the instructions, but they directly go to the questions. But first, you should read the instructions, because unless you read and understand the instructions, you can't know what the question is asking for. Okay, and the second one is read the questions and identify what is actually being asked. You should understand what the question asks. And for this, underline the keywords in the question, because you will hear these keywords or their synonyms or maybe antonyms or maybe their paraphrases in the audio. Okay, and the third strategy is look at the different options and underline any keywords that help you tell the difference in meaning. Options, you will have 4 options for each question in the listening section. So when you look at the keywords, you will understand the difference between the options. So highlight or underline the keywords. And let's continue with the strategy. The next one is think of any synonyms or paraphrases. As I told you before, this is quite important because we mostly don't write the exact words in the listening. Because when we write the exact words, we don't test your listening, but we test whether you hear a word or not. Okay, and the next one is that you should predict the answer. Yeah, and the next one is again keywords and synonyms. When listening, listen for any keywords and synonyms. You should be aware of the keywords, and when you are listening, you should be active and you should listen for these keywords. Okay? These keywords should keep you alert. And let's move on to the next slide, strategy part. Next one is don't write the first answer you hear, because speakers will probably talk about more than one option. So wait until they have talked about them all. I mean, wait till the speaker talks about all the options and then answer the question. The next one is, if you think an answer is correct, put a tick beside it and keep listening to make sure. I mean, sometimes you may say that, oh, okay, that is the answer. I found the answer. That should be the correct answer. But you may be wrong. Keep listening till the end. Okay? This is quite important. And the last one is, don't waste your time thinking of a question more time than necessary. Because sometimes, let's say you have a problem with the second question, and I mean, you consume your time with the second question. In the meantime, you miss the third and maybe the fourth question. So, by focusing on only one question, you may miss the other questions. So, if you miss a question, or maybe if you miss an answer, make a guess and move on. As you know, you will listen twice in the listening section. So if you can't answer a question for the first time you listen, just move on. Okay? Okay, this is the end of today's session. So thanks for watching. For more details, visit our webpage, which is www.ibu.edu.tr/yabancı diller. Okay, see you.